And for you, Legolas, this is a new bow, so that you may kill a troll as quickly as I did, in under 10 seconds. And for Samwise Gamgee, rope forged from the hair of an ice troll that I killed many years ago. And for Frodo, the bottled tears of an ice troll. Did I mention I killed an ice troll many years ago, in under 10 seconds? Fare thee well, my friends, and may these gifts forged from the body of an ice troll that I killed many years ago in the Second Age in under 10 seconds fare you well on your journey.
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 957,000 Awakening Wonders and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. It's time to talk about the Rings of Power because we got some news, or more accurately, darkness crept back into the hobbies of the world. Rumor grew of a shadow in Culver City, California. Whispers of a nameless failure, and the Rings of Power perceived its time had come. Or has it? We're expected to see this series this year, and it's looking like that might not be the case. It's been just over 2 years since Jeff Bezos' Amazon Prime released a teaser trailer for his vanity project, The Rings of Power, which just ended up being very expensive footage of people constructing another vanity project, a big sign for Jeff Bezos' office. And surprisingly enough, that trailer was ratioed along with every single trailer they released, and it all went downhill from there. The aforementioned ratios, deleted dislikes, deleted comments, leading to one of the most glorious comment sections in the history of pop culture. In their infinite wisdom, Amazon decided to coordinate attacks on the fans, unlisting a cringe superfan video with paid influencers, a trailer premiere where a guy got caught pissing in a corner.
Enhance 34 to 36.
Oi, where you going?
Lying to the fans, insufferable adult pretenders on promotional tours. Then they made the worst mistake of all, actually releasing the series on the anniversary of Professor Tolkien's death. And then we found out how much they were going to vandalize Tolkien's lore. It wasn't just subversion, it was a prison. They began by turning the very picture of powerful femininity, Galadriel, into Guyladriel, who spent 1,000 years wandering around Middle-earth hunting down Sauron without a map. They followed that up with literally shipping Galadriel and Sauron on a raft.
Bro, remember that time I met Galadriel in the middle of the ocean on a raft and almost banged her? Dude, that was weird.
They introduced new characters like female Frodo and Don Lemonless, elves of color, dwarves of color, Harfoots of color, because they can't call them hobbits. They race-swapped Muriel into another diverse girl boss, Dementia Gandalf, who's not even supposed to be in the Second Age, and Doogie Elrond, just to name a few. They gave us origins to metals, like Mithril, and geographic locations, like Mordor, which was created in an afternoon by a fake elf and a tweaker using the instructions from the Mousetrap game. So it shouldn't be a surprise they lost 63% of their audience from episode 1 to episode 8, all leading to the inevitable billion-dollar flop most of us knew it would be. Still, Amazon remained vigilant, determined to lose that 37% of the audience that hung around, and forged ahead with season 2. Unfortunately for them, or maybe fortunately for them, the writer's strike came and the showrunners had to leave, but they kept filming the series, completing it before the Film Actors Guild went on strike. And despite completing principal photography over 3 months before House of the Dragon, who still managed to put out a full-fledged banger of a trailer, and because Matt Smith let it slip, is going to be released this August, from the Rings of Power, we've heard nothing but crickets. Sure, they managed to finally cast Galadriel's husband, Celeborn, the guy they should have cast in season 1 and completely forgot about, and casting another version of Sauron, and believe me, we'll get to that. We have heard absolutely nothing officially from Amazon. We haven't seen a single frame of footage, not even a promotional pic. All we're left with is rumors, and after watching season 1, I can certainly find some of this cringe believable. So let's go back to our good friends at thewondering.net. Analysis. New Rings of Power rumors tease Unhinged Season 2. If any of this is true, then it's going to be far worse than even I can imagine, and a series that was doomed to begin with has decided to join the likes of Disney Star Wars, Doctor Who, the MCU, and Star Trek. by doubling down on failure. Now, to be fair to the OneRing.net, they've been doing this for over 20 years, and they've been right about some stuff, including raising the red flag about a lot of bad reboot rejects coming in to ruin another franchise. But the first of many rumors I find very hard to believe. Amazon has secretly acquired the rights to the Silmarillion. Why would you keep that a secret? That would be a major positive when this show needs one. I'd be lighting the beacons and sending press releases to every rag in Hollywood. And it's not like the rejects from Bad Reboot like showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, if they still are the showrunners, more on that later, and another Bad Reboot reject, producer Lindsay Weber, who's known for the now infamous quote, "It felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like, would know what to do with the Silmarillion if they had it." That's nothing. This is where things get really dumb and believable. Before we get started on the plot rumors, I have to preface this by saying a lot of them originate from 4chan, which is far more miss than hit. But again, after watching season 1 of The Rings of Power, I can believe them, and we have this from the OneRing.net. These spy reports may or may not be reliable, but we have already known through our own secret channels about 40% of this stuff before the big leak on January 15th, 2024. With enough of this verified, we are at least eager to throw the doors wide open and have some robust discussion. Let's do it. Apparently, season 2, whenever it comes out, is going to open up with a prologue, including the music of Arnor, which is the Song of Creation. Eru, the one god, will create Melkor with the secret flame, and we'll also see the creation of the Valar and the Maiar. I have zero confidence Amazon will be able to pull this off with the rights to the Silmarillion, and without them, let's just say it leaves the door open for the message. For example, would it surprise you at all if the one god Eru's disembodied voice was female? According to rumor, we're gonna get some bottle episodes this season. Did you really enjoy those origins of Mithril and Mordor? Now we're gonna get one for Shadowfax.
Shadowfax, show us the meaning of haste.
You don't see that very often, do you?
I think some things are best left to the imagination. Hey, Tom Bombadil and Goldberry are gonna be in an episode, and they managed to get left out of every adaptation.
Wrong!
Пройдет быстро, а завтра вы снова двинетесь в путь.
Now, there are a lot of fan theories and scholar theories about their origins. This is not one of them. According to rumor, they are played by the same actor and actress as Melkor, Morgoth, and Ungoliant from episode 1. Now, Melkor is basically the devil, bigger and badder than Sauron, and Ungoliant is a primordial being that formed into a giant spider that helped Melkor destroy the trees of Valinor, who also happens to be an ancestor of Shelob, and I'm still holding out for baby Shelob. Again, according to rumor, the show will confirm the long-held fan theory that has never been a long-held fan theory that Tom Bombadil and Goldberry are Melkor and Ungoliant serving out their punishment. Even the OneRing.net calls this out. Excuse me, there's never been such a fan theory. No one that I have seen, and if I had heard of this cockamamie idea, I would have laughed at the absurdity, to quote the pique and anger of a well-known Tolkien historian who has heard this. This is not a fan theory. This is just fan fiction, and it's really garbage fan fiction at that, which was exactly what The Rings of Power Season 1 was. Oh, but it doesn't end there. There will be an episode focusing on the origins of Sauron, and this brings us to some modern casting. Now, a lot of us have guessed that this is probably an earlier version of Sauron who should have already shown up in Season 1, Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, who has been described as fair, eloquent, seemingly wise, benevolent, and a beautiful elf, who will be played by Gavi Singh Chera. But I'll say to you haters, it's about time people of color can see themselves in the embodiment of deception and pure evil. Gives a whole new meaning to Lindsay Weber's quote, "It felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's world would reflect what the world actually looks like." Oof. But I can hear you now. I thought Halbrand was Sauron. He is. Apparently, we're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 versions. Not really sure. In Season 2, Halbrand had a son who was never in Tolkien's works, killed by another elf who was never in Tolkien's works, Adar, who's been recast because Joseph Malwy was smart enough to get the f*** out. And now it's time to talk about Celeborn. Yes, they have cast Celeborn in season 2, except he won't be Celeborn. It was bad enough to have Galadriel wandering around for 1,000 years, thinking her husband is dead and getting fooled by Sauron, I might add. She was the only one who never got fooled by him. According to the OneRing.net, our dearly departed Celeborn is indeed not dead, as readers of Tolkien already knew, but will show up in season 2 being impersonated by Sauron. Indeed, one of Sauron's disguises to return to Eregion, how many can there be beyond Anatar? I'm guessing a lot now, is the form of Celeborn. Jesus Christ. We assume this plan is to dupe Elrond, Celebrimbor, and Galadriel at the same time. Again, this sounds crazy. But did you see season 1? And I can completely believe that the only people on planet Earth who think this is a good idea is the writing staff of the Rings of Power, who barely have the brain capacity to keep breathing.
This is big brain time.
Now, this could all be bullshit, but however it plays out, I have no doubt season 2 of the Rings of Power will be this bad or worse. Because, according to the OneRing.net, Simon Tolkien is personally involved in overseeing the show's expansion of the mythology. Sounds good, right? A Tolkien's involved. Well, while Christopher Tolkien is one of the greatest sons who's ever lived, guarding his father's legacy, Simon, not so much. If you refer to my video, The Rings of Power, The Making of a Disaster, I was told by multiple people who were familiar with the project that Simon was a nice enough guy, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's a bit of an idiot.
My problem with the films was really that I think Jackson was kind of too faithful to the book. He kind of put too much into it.
Remember this headline that went around a couple of years ago? The Rings of Power showrunners say Sauron is like Walter White in season 2. That actually comes from Simon. But there is some good news for you out there, dear viewer, that quite frankly is bad news for me. The Rings of Power Season 2 might be delayed. Now, I don't want you to get too excited, but there have been hints of this already. We heard from one of the current showrunners. According to McKay in 2022, production on The Rings of Power Season 2 may take another couple of years. The next season of The Rings of Power would arrive in 2025 or 2026, based on this estimate, although a late 2024 premiere isn't impossible. And we'll go back to the OneRing.net. Strangely, the studio behind the billion-dollar TV show remains stoic and silent. Their social accounts barren since last July. Not a single bit of marketing nor a press release has been forthcoming. Tellingly, a huge Prime Video commercial aired in the US during the Primetime Emmy Awards broadcast without any mention of the Rings of Power. Not a single word. The Rings of Power has also been removed from Prime Video's For Your Consideration Awards website for this year. And there is a rumor out there that showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay have been replaced. Now, maybe they're conflating that with them having to leave because of the strike. I tried to confirm it and couldn't, but maybe they got caught up in all of those Amazon studio layoffs from Variety. Amazon to lay off several hundred across Prime Video, Amazon MGM Studios, 500 cut at Twitch, and what is Variety trying to say with this picture? But I don't want to worry that 30% of the audience out there that hung on with Rings of Power Season 1. All the Season 2 episodes will be directed by women. And hey, what's a 2 or 3 year wait between seasons of the biggest disaster in television history? Herstory. If you have an infant child now, by the time this series completes its 5-season commitment, they'll have graduated high school. I guess we'll find out soon if we don't see a Rings of Power Season 2 video by the Super Bowl. My best guess is it comes out in 2025 at the earliest. Again, horrible news for this channel, but the best news for the world. All jokes aside, the best thing to come out of this series was The Fellowship. Some might tell you that the Tolkien fandom is split. No, that's only amongst the people who actually care about this show outside of YouTubers. As far as the vast majority of the fandom is concerned,
we are sitting on a field of victory, enjoying a few well-earned comforts.
We're doing just fine. Speaking of which, I had the privilege of watching Return of the King in the theaters yesterday with my family again. And guess what? There was no slavish adherence to the message, no preferred pronouns, no face of a necessary redress of balance, no reflecting the world we live in today, and no empty seats. 10 out of 10. And the only question for the Rings of Power fandom is, which way, man of the West?
Nerdrotic.com.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
Cast it into the fire!
Salted pork.